We're here at last. We're here at last. I've joined Bree in post-7 Rebirth land.
Congratulations.
What a weird place.
Congratulations.
I thought it'd be a sad, scary place where the sky was a little bit dimmer and flowers didn't bloom anymore. But it's all right. This is a nice place. I expected despair.
It's
I don't
better
know why.
to be here than where you were.
Yeah, for sure.
Now you know things.
I know. I was just so scared about this ending because it just felt like, for me personally, everything was going too right.
Yeah.
Playing through Rebirth, I was like, oh shit, they're hitting it. Everything's going just swimmingly. Yeah, this is all too good to be true. This is all going to come crashing down like a house of cards. The ending's going to be shit. Definitely not my feeling.
No.
That ending was something. That ending was something.
Now that
That
you've
ending.
calmed down a bit.
I don't know if I have calmed down.
A bit.
A little bit. Yeah, so context, guys, I finished it yesterday. Don't know when I'm uploading this. And I have stayed away from everything. It was so tempting to just pop online, see what people have been cooking for 2 months plus have come up with. But I thought it's way more authentic for me to just come out and first give where I am at. Anyway, freshly from out of the gate. I know I was kind of scared about doing this because I feel like I'm going to sound like an idiot. I feel like my takes are going to be like low takes.
Well, if you come from it from that perspective, I'm sure people will understand and try to bring themselves back to before they knew anything. Because for full context, I haven't even talked to him about my thoughts.
Not a thing.
At all.
Not a thing.
We decided to not speak about it really.
We've had just this weird overnight silence where
there was a point yesterday whenever we usually have like a nighttime bath.
Yeah.
There was a point during the bath where we just got dead silent because we realized we couldn't talk about it and we just kind of sat there.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about everything I've gone through, but we're like, let's keep it organically to when we're chatting together.
Yeah.
So
awkward silences happened yesterday.
very much so. Very much. So yeah, bear that in mind. Brand new fresh takes. Feel free to go in the comment section though and tell me what your takes are from where you are at now. How long it is since you finished. But let's just dive straight in.
Yeah.
Let's just dive straight in.
Thoughts?
So I was overwhelmed.
I could tell.
In a good way. But definitely overwhelmed. So much was happening at such breakneck speed and my brain was trying to... I said it during the stream. There was like micro avatar pairs. That was like getting the input, feeling the stimulus, feeling the emotion. The emotion that was all over the place. That was haywire. So just say it straight. I just experienced Aerith's death, but I also didn't. She's a Schrodinger's Aerith. She's both dead and not dead. And so it just put me in a weird place because I'm like, I can't be like screaming with joy or like, because I don't know if I'd be screaming with joy if they'd fully saved her. I actually don't think I would have. So at that moment when Cloud counters, I was like, I can't believe you're doing this. And then immediately the suspicion comes. I'm like, they wouldn't do this. They're not doing this. I have no belief that this is happening because I came into this fully expecting red herrings. So that puts me a step behind. And then we see the blood and then she is dying. And basically there's, and then we have everything with the timeline. Sephiroth taking Cloud, come with me and you'll be on a fucking multi-timeline versal fantasy, it seems. And I'm like, I don't even trust this. And as I'm watching it, basically my head's trying to figure out what's the device, what's allowing this, what's really going on. And it just caused basically a pes.exe stop responding effect. It's like a dominoes.
I noticed. And
I just kept shutting down. So that's why I had to end the stream and I had to come away and marinate. And I'm just going to take it from what my initial reaction was, that I now think is less likely, to now where I've worked to that I think is likely. Okay. Right, I'll take that. So when I first saw it, I thought this is sinister as fuck. I thought Cloud's mind has snapped. He's gone cuckoo bananas. He's gone deranged. Full blown. Russell Crowe, A Beautiful Mind, fucking Shutter Island, schizophrenia mode. Copium with her death, and he's Cloud Dreamweaver, and he's weaving, a alter ego of her, a persona to cope. Now, I still do believe that Cloud Dreamweaver is going to be a thing, or it is currently a thing. I've been doing those dream space theories for a while, and there's like how many references came through at that final part of the Rebirth, like Aerith actually having a fucking, what was it, Shih Tzu timeline, dream date with Cloud, like the whole worlds of illusion and Jenova Dreamweaver. Is this just a dream? I don't know. You tell me. I fully believe that that's in effect, but yeah, I don't think that Cloud is dreaming Aerith out of copium, or that his mind's just snapped. But I still had the Sinister feeling. I'll say the reason why it was sinister is because there's something inherently fucked up about the rest of the crew mourning Aerith's death, and Cloud's just sat there like smiling and like not there with them emotionally at all. And obviously what we've just seen him go through, I think he should have beat the shit out of Aerith just like an OG, rather than here's Cloudy. You know?
People aren't gonna like that. Some people are very overly protective of that, so I think you should just put it's an opinion. It's okay if you prefer it the other way.
All of this is opinion. I mean, you guys have been watching this channel long enough.
Yeah, but some people will still hear that and be like, I can't believe that they would prefer to see him take it from Aerith by force aggressively.
Really? Yeah.
Some people
No,
are
I would.
overprotective, and they're like, I really prefer this change. It's like, it's okay if you're sensitive to that.
Is that what a lot of people are saying then?
It's like half and half. There's people in the middle that are like, yes, I did prefer original, but I'm okay with this too.
Yeah.
Then there's people on the other end that like, if you didn't want that, you're a pussy. You're a pussy, and you're woke, and you can't handle real shit. And then there's people on the other end that are just like, but that would hurt her, and that's bad.
At the end of the day,
terrible.
I don't know why everyone gets so like caught up on this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone has different tastes.
Yeah.
Everyone has different tonality wants and levels of comfort and discomfort.
No.
Dogs are moccasin. And it's art, guys. I just need to remind, this is art, a subjective medium that is supposed to convey emotion and meaning and interpretation, or meaning through interpretation. But yeah, there was something sinister about Cloud being disconnected from the emotion of it. Some are just the dark smirks that you saw coming out of him. The attaching of the black materia to the Buster Sword.
Just so casual how he did that.
Yes.
It was wild.
So then my mind started shifting to, the Aerith that's alive is some sort of Jenova, Sephiroth-induced hallucination.
It's a popular theory.
They are fucking with his head. By making her feel like she's there and she's real, because they know how much of a influencing force Aerith is on Cloud. So them creating a fabrication is just another 7 dimensions, because it's up to 7D chess now. Like Sephiroth started the 5D chess, Aerith with that white materia reversal, fucking getting the activated one back, that was 6D chess. 7D chess would be them planting Aerith. Because we spoke about this, like when Cloud was suspecting Tifa, I was like, oh man, I do think that's Cloud making a mistake, but we have to remember the doppelganger concept is a very powerful thing that Jenova can do. Essentially, that's what she toppled the entire Cetra with.
To assume she's not going to do that at all is a bit...
Yeah, I really feel like they should play a super convincing doppelganger that isn't just like it was in part 3 or disc 3 of OG, which is doppelganger Tifa that we instantly get shown is Sephiroth. No, doppelganger it to where we, the audience, do not know either. And I thought,
that would be powerful.
Oh, is this the what they're doing with Aerith? Because let's be real. I think it would be kind of coy and a funny, almost like you say the plot ghosts. They were kind of like this narrative or metaphor for the fans that desperately wanted everything on track.
Yeah.
To stay on one track.
Yeah.
And keep the status quo and not change things. And so Square inserting those was like this super ironic kind of on the nose comedic like jab at that. And now I feel like this whole Aerith thing is also a similar kind of thing where you've got this fan base. They're super obsessed with whether she's going to die or not going to die, arguing about it, whether she should, whether she shouldn't. And now they've just gone and been like, okay, here you go, here's both. No promises though. It feels like all of that on one level. So it's a kind of like a dark, sinister, almost take on our obsession with the concept of death and how that would weave in with death is just a homecoming. That was also what was sinister about that Aerith, I will say, is that she also mimicked, feels like being at home.
Something Sephiroth said.
It's
pretty wild.
The Aerith that we saw, because this just like hit me like a light bulb as I was about to go to sleep last night, exhausted from the stream. I was like, yeah, he said death is a homecoming there. It's like, it's not as simple as that. And then when we see Ghost or just Cloud can see Aerith, she says it feels like being at home. And I was like,
this is a homecoming. You could say it's a homecoming. She said those words.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was it homecoming or it's like being at home?
She said you could say it's a homecoming.
Yeah, so, and for me, like, that just like jumped out of my mind.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's pretty surprising.
Highly possible that this is some sort of inducement by Sephiroth, because also, yeah, I mean, just on the very surface level, or obvious level, should I say, there's been a huge chunk of game where Sephiroth was the only one that could see Cloud. Cloud was the only one that could see Sephiroth. And now that we have only Cloud able to see Aerith, it's like same mechanism.
That's an interesting take.
You know, what I've always felt is that whatever Sephiroth can do, Aerith can do, and whatever Aerith can do, Sephiroth can do. The similarities between these two forces is almost like identical, just different in polarity. Opposite polarities, but same. You know, whether Aerith can create remnants if she wanted, just like Sephiroth. She can also manipulate memory and spirit power. And is this still going? Okay. I thought it ended. Pretty juicy. That's where my head went, first of all. But now I've marinated, I'm like, it's all a lot more simple than that. Possibly. And I don't know if I like it. I think I might not, but it depends how they play it. And that's the thing.
I think you finally got
depends
just
how
those
they play
words
it.
make me think, okay, I think he's got it.
So it seems to me, and when this jumped to my head, when I got real logical about it, I was like, oh, fuck. It's Cloud in the multiverse of madness. It's Doctor Strange Cloud. Strange Dr. Cloud. He's going to have his fucking sentient cloak that can fly around. That what happened in that instance was just like how Zack had the highway split and he could either go left or go right. And then we saw different outcomes for both of those. And Sephiroth explaining to us, oh yeah, the timelines, and that's the thing, I do think it now might be timelines. I don't fucking really like that, but that they're infinitely branching. Now, the only thing I'm going to say that makes me hopeful that it doesn't become MCU-esque bullshit, because, oh, hello, Ari. I do agree that the multiverse concept can be an anathema of plot writing that absolutely reduces the significance, the meaning, the importance. There is a reason why the MCU drowned itself after it just became so infinitely large, where death is no longer this like really substantive thing, and there's just infinite timelines of shit going on. No, infinite Spider-Mans and infinite Tony Starks and all this shit, and it swamps. It can swamp the more direct, simplistic tone. And that was obviously something I even felt with Aerith's death just then. It's like I didn't even have a second to even mourn that, because you just flip it up immediately. And now I can't also even be happy that she's alive, because what is even being alive? And when you make things so amorphous, so ambiguous, when you introduce, because I get why writers do it, and it's become quite this fad of late to introduce multiverse stuff. It's so that you can fucking do whatever without really having to conform to any writing rules. And it's like, actually, you know, sometimes writing rules are good and important, and it actually, you know, there can be a consequence of opening things up this largely.
Unless if they're not.
Unless if they're not, and this is what I'll get to. One of the things that Sephiroth said is that all these things that branch out, some of them are tiny, some of them are meaningless, some of them end almost as soon as they begin.
Which we saw that.
Meaning
the big thing with Zack's choices.
Exactly. Meaning that there are core, like, worlds, if you will, and when I put that, because you know I've been doing the 5 worlds of the Kabbalah theory, that there's 5 spiritual worlds. Everyone thought there would just be 2. I was like, no, there's going to be more. There'll be more. I pitched it at 5, and it seems like shit. There's even like way more than that. I mean, we've got like 5 stamps now or something.
I think we've got up to 6 stars now.
We got up to 6: Beagle, Terrier, Pug, Shih Tzu, and
Corgi.
Was there Corgi?
There was a Corgi.
There was a Corgi. So I mean, 5 stamps. 5 words of the Kabbalah. So I mean, I pitched it at 5.
There's 6, or maybe 7. I don't
7.
even know.
That's the thing. Basically, I had it in my head that there would be more, but the purpose for these more would be based in a spiritual principle where each one of these different spiritual planes of existence had an intention and a purpose and a configuration that was significant to the story, not just infinitely branching shit. Anyway, to pull all of this back in, I suddenly clocked, oh yeah, they were trying to open a Destiny's portal, and only Cloud went through it. And that as he went through it, I'm guessing, this is why I get really nervous about saying shit, because I might sound like an idiot, but I feel like because he went through and the rest of the gang didn't, he essentially had a Zack Fair moment at the turning point, where both scenarios of Cloud going through and making it in time to save Aerith occurred, as well as the one where he didn't. Now, as that all happened, we saw the reunion, which they're now making the reunion not just about basic SL matter all congregating together, or it is still about that, but SL matter across all timelines merging back together, as well as all branching timelines. Which I'm just gonna start saying that now because I actually feel like that's what's happening. I would have preferred a different plot device. But we saw the 2 core ones merged. And obviously Cloud, I feel like, has now acquired this ability, or he's like trapped in between, where now something's changed with him. It's not that his psyche is broke, it's that he's acquired a new level of power. Whether it was because he was outside of the worlds merging when it happened, whether it's because he has both the black and the white materia in his possession, but for whatever reason, both worlds are merged, but he's the only one who can see the 2 different worlds. That's why he can see the rift in the sky, that's why he can see Aerith alive, that he is essentially the fucking kid from Sixth Sense. I can see dead people. You know, one of them may still be the real world, and one may still be a live stream world, you know, world of chaos, world of live stream. That's what's occurring to me as to why both those scenarios happened. You both saved her and he did not, and now he's trapped in this like super clairvoyant state that he's gonna have Aerith along for him, with him as a guide for advice, that she's gonna be in part 3.
So what makes you think that she'd be around?
For the same reason that Zack's around. I feel like she's going to play a similar role to like Zack now.
So
Cutaway of cutscenes.
They say goodbye. She says goodbye, and it sounds very final.
It doesn't sound final to me.
To her.
Because it says, I'll send up smoke if I need help. So she hints that, oh yeah, I'll send up smoke. We'll, if shit starts going south, we'll team up.
I'm not saying we'll never see her again, but I don't think we'll see her as much as you're thinking. Just purely based off of the fact that Cloud...
Well, you think we'll see her less than we saw Zack now in part 2?
I think that the way... Well, I don't want to get too far into my thoughts, but just this little tidbit of paying attention to the way that their conversation goes. Cloud is obviously under the impression that Aerith needs to stay at the Forgotten Capital and pray.
Yeah.
He's under the impression that that is what's happening right now.
I'm going to stop Meteor.
I'm here and I'm praying.
I'm going to pray, pray, pray.
Yeah. And goodbye. And the way that she says it, it's said with almost a finality. Goodbye. Sad,
I mean, yeah, goodbye. Does it really matter whether it's final or not? I mean, she's going to basically go to the role that she's always kind of had after death. No, in Advent Children, no, she'll pop up here or there to lend strength, to lend aid. You know, if she has indeed gone into her Omni Aerith mode, her goddess Aerith mode, I do think I can get behind it being somewhat final, because that's the reason why we had the dream date. Because that was Aerith's way of experiencing a last moment with Cloud. Something that she'd always wanted while she was maiden who travels through the planet.
The dog just hit her head off of the table. Oh.
Now she's walking away
How
embarrassed.
embarrassing. We wanted to have her last moment.
Oh,
with Cloud,
yeah, maiden who travels
her
through the
last
planet
moment.
Aerith. She's like, yeah, what I wouldn't give to just be able to go on like one last date with Cloud, one last hurrah. And yeah, so that was her last human moment. That's what I feel, is that there's the human Aerith, and then there's the Omni Goddess Aerith, and there's times where they complement one another, and there's times when they conflict, because one kind of strips from the other, you know. And that's what we've seen with Aerith, is I feel like her being pulled between these two very different sides. And you know, the parts where she says she feels like she's losing herself, you know, versus the part that says is scared of the great blue sky and like unlimited freedom, like the goddess duty of her, the central duty, like terrifies her. And yeah, that was just one last moment to have that human moment with Cloud. So yeah, I could vibe that for sure. Why do you think that's important to
I think it's important. I think it's important.
Are people losing their mind over whether Aerith's going to be in part 3?
People
are like,
no, she's alive. She's fully alive.
See, yeah, I knew, and this is what I was worried about when I saw it.
And Tifa's sad because Tifa feels cucked. That's why she was crying, not because she saw Aerith dead. I've seen that.
You've seen that. You've seen that.
For the love of God, I've seen that.
Some of your motherfuckers feel like Tifa's sad because Aerith's still alive and there's competition for love. I'm just gonna say that. Like,
it's not like
I like to try to respect every person's POV, but some of y'all are just stupid.
Do you see what I mean now?
Stupid.
It wasn't a matter of me just being.
No.
My opinion is the best opinion. It's just there's some opinions that are just objectively small-brained.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really thinking. You don't know the devs. You don't know.
You're just twisting it to shoehorn your brain.
You also have to take full note of the fact that the devs have said they do want to keep the story beats. That's something that they've said from the beginning of time. Of course, we can't always trust what the devs say because they lie sometimes. They have lied to us. But I do think that they still want to toe this line of faithfulness and introducing new concepts without kind of ruining what made the story.
I feel like that's where they've been. I can't imagine how they're going to do that for part 3.
I think they can.
I really don't think they can, and here's why.
I think they've set themselves up for it.
I feel like now you've opened the story this wide, which is a crazy, bold, ballsy, and that's why I actually like it. It is by no means boring, and it's pretty it's pretty fucking ballsy, and the potential for where they take it could be phenomenal. But at the end of the day, keeping it the same going forward, you've done so much of part 3 here in part 2, so much. Bizarro Sephiroth, you've played him. We've already fought the motherfucker like 3 times now. That's already an oversaturation.
I do have thoughts on that.
Of Sephiroth fights. That's oversaturation of Sephiroth fights. It's just like, let's have Sephiroth be the thing we fight at the end.
Oh, the ending,
like,
of course,
you've
is
just
going to be the same.
Thrown it in there a bit too much. You've had too many of the plot reveals you know, for example, Zack. Zack is a big plot reveal in part 3. That's fully cat out of the bag now. The memory dive sequence. Yes, you could do a different one now, but you have done one. And just even certain character development, like progressions, have just leapfrogged, like so far ahead. So they have ripped so much part 3 into part 2, and I just feel like part 3 is going to be a bit more of a departure from regular beats.
To a degree.
And I'm kind of hoping for that, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Me
So,
personally.
I think to a degree it's going to be different, but I do think the overall vibe is going to be the same. Obviously, they have to now introduce ways to wrap up the new things that they've brought in. And obviously, bringing in the new things that they brought, they can also bring in things from other sources of the universe, which I think is a great opportunity. But I think you can do all of those things while still remaining pretty faithful to the original. They still have all of the elements there to hit a lot of the same major beats. Obviously, if we already fought Bizarro Sephiroth, we're not going to fight him again. I think everybody's kind of accepted the fact that the final fight is not going to be anywhere near what the original was. And I'm okay with that because, and I think I'm more okay with that because yes, we did see it. However, I'm not so happy that we saw it. In the grand scheme of things, fighting Sephiroth at the end of every game just leads to one of my kind of icks with the game.
We'll talk about this on another video because I actually want to talk about Sephiroth in an entire vid because I think I share similar views to you because there's so much I want to cover about him because I feel like he's both simultaneously like terrible and reduced as a villain while also I'm really happy that we did get to see the scale of his goals now and that's the thing, the scale of everything has blown up tremendously, and while that does give me fear and reservation, trepidation that they're about to drown the story and not substantiate this multi-branching timeline stuff.
Also remember that came from Sephiroth.
Well,
there's a purpose for
that's what I'm wondering.
Him telling Cloud that.
He's the one who said it, so I'm already like, You know, you should always treat everything Sephiroth says with suspicion.
And you should also always treat everything that Cloud sees with suspicion.
Because I mean, there would be a purpose to both playing a Phantom Aerith in, if they did do that. There would also be the purpose of reiterating the triviality of death. Oh, death is not that big a deal. It's just a homecoming. It's just a homecoming. Oh yeah, all of these timelines. Because that's the thing that the multiverse fucks up, is the significance and weight of death. Nothing seems that final anymore. The finality of everything is reduced, and you kind of get bogged down in the existential expanse of everything.
The emotional weight isn't.
Yeah, and to induce that in Cloud's mind would be a phenomenal trick, if it is a trick, because to get Cloud to go along with Sephiroth's plans, that's what he would need to do. He needs to trivialize death to Cloud. Because that's essentially what Sephiroth, I think, needs Cloud to do. Essentially what he was going to do in OG.
So you think Cloud knows that Aerith is dead, but he's just like, it's not that big of a deal.
But it's not that big of a deal, exactly.
Because I still see her, so...
I still see her.
I can still interact with her.
That really would mess up his concept of death. And then once that gets fucked up enough, what realistically is puncturing the planet with a meteor, absorbing all the souls into one place and then taking them somewhere else for a better start? What really is that? Is that such a big deal? Well, it doesn't feel like such a big deal with all of this multiverse shit going on, and that could end up leading Cloud down a very dark path. So I would like it if that was...
And imagine the snap that Cloud would have if this all becomes clear to him. Oh, you didn't actually save her. She is actually dead. That would be... I feel like living and existing as if she's alive for a certain period of time while everybody around him is just going through the process of mourning, eventually something's gonna break.
Well, that's what I can't really understand is
that can't.
How long is they going to keep this up for?
Persist.
Because they must notice Cloud not reacting properly.
Oh, Tifa certainly does.
I mean, Cloud.
Barrett also certainly does.
Cloud straight up was like, "Oh yeah, guys, don't look up," and they look up and they just see a regular blue sky.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah, don't worry about it, guys. It's just an illusion. Cloud is fucking bananas. Now, I know what some people are going to say. They're like, "Oh my god, Cloud's losing his mind." Why don't people approach him, talk to him, tell him more? We did have moments of that. Barrett was really good at trying to confront him. Tifa's. That's the thing. The reason why I'm not so scared of all of this plot expansion possibility is that it's actually grounded in really good character story writing.
Mm-hmm.
There is an organicness and there is a really beautifully fleshed out dynamic with all the characters, and their purposes for biting their tongue on certain things, telling white lies, twisting the truth.
And it's a learned behavior that they have had to do. If you guys have been paying attention, in the beginning, Tifa did call him out. She got into fights with him.
And then what was the result of that?
He was geeting up.
Geeting up, exactly.
And he even said to her, he's like, I can't do that. When she says, essentially, be honest with me, tell me what's going on. I can't, he says.
I feel like this is a subtlety a lot of people are going to miss. So much in the facial expression. I saw, it was just imprinted in my mind, where sort of Barrett and Tifa side-eye to each other, and Barrett's eyes tell you everything you need to know in that moment, where it's just like,
what do we do?
And then he just goes up, and he goes up to him, and he's like, there's a lot riding on this, just be ready.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like all of that grounds it. All of it grounds it. Even if there are all of this timeline craziness and, well, this could be it, that could be like where we are with these characters right now, in the here and now, and the way that they're portrayed and the way that they emote, that's what adds the significance. That's what adds the emotion. That's what adds the groundedness to wherever all of this ungroundedness go. But yeah, I've got to say, I am hoping it's not the case that it's always been, or they're just trying to retcon that there's always been butterfly effects in the universe. I get it that Sephiroth's skull has transcended taking over the planet's life stream, and it's far more cosmological now. So there's a cosmos life stream, and in the cosmos you've also got 13 layers of dimensionality, and with that the possibility that there is a multiverse. But the butterfly effect is just weird if you don't really contextualize and contain it, or do what I've been trying to do, which is ground it in a theme that fits with the live stream. It's just, they've not given us anything to, this is now like a new insertion, if it is indeed that. And that's the only thing that's getting my mind up, basically. We could talk about this all day, and I can tell that there's 100% people that are gonna despise this, despise the premise of this.
That's their problem.
For me, like I said, I've put on this new perspective while I'm playing it, where I've kind of made myself immune to the wackiness of Square Enix, where I'm just going along. I'm just being pulled down the river, and I'm not allowing myself to hit up with all this resistance to what is, or absolutes, or they've done this, or they've done that. I'm like, I'm going to see where you're going. I'm going to see where you're going. And as I'm going along, there's certain things that, it's still a bit of worry, but I quickly skim over it, because you know what? This game was phenomenal, man. This game was so damn good. And even in light of that ending, or the possibility that that ending is actually introducing one of the very plot elements that I really was worried about, I still think that was a phenomenal ending. I loved it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so lay it on me. That's my cook. Yeah.
A lot of that aligns with what I think, and I think with what a lot of other people think as well. Bits and pieces are obviously different, and I think that is also going to remain true for most people, where you're going to have bits and pieces here and there that don't really align with what everybody else thinks. I do think there's a big chunk of people that all think the same thing, and I do think that those people are basing those thoughts off of OG, because in
what
OG,
are those thoughts?
So purely based off the fact that we are in Cloud's most fucked up mental state era.
Yeah.
And that leads to him kind of, in OG we do see him becoming Sephiroth's little puppet.
Yeah.
Truly. He wants to fight against it so hard, but he's just inevitably going to become that. So we're leading up, and I do think in Rebirth he is accelerated. I don't know if that's just a choice by the devs to really show us exactly how fucked up Cloud is, more so than original.
Like him dropping Sephiroth, dropping the black materia, just be like, now pick it up, bitch.
Yes. And I do think that this acceleration that we're seeing, I do think in OG, we were probably meant to take it that way as well, because of course normal Cloud wouldn't beat the shit out of Aerith. So that is an acceleration, us being like, why is he acting like this? The whole time, the whole game, seeing him do that weird polygon, like, fuck up thing, like, it happens. It happens. So I do think...
So you're saying that a lot of people are... Because that's one of the things that jumped out to me on the stream. I was like, are they doing the... Like a super...
Cloud is not a reliable narrator.
Master of my own illusory world concept on steroids.
I think
that's what Cloud admits, that he makes up his own reality, and I do like this theme. I call it dream weaving. You could call it just a psychosis element. Very quickly, I was really intrigued when Najima was saying about Yogacara, that the senses are prone to manipulation, and basically how we construct reality. Yogacara is the process of trying to not allow the conscious mind to dictate what reality is, and if it does dictate what reality is, then it actually stops you from discovering your true self. And obviously that's something that Aerith left off, saying to Cloud, don't worry about Sephiroth, I'll deal with him, you go and find your true self. That's kind of impossible to do if all of this is psychosis.
People are leaning towards it's mainly psychosis, but it's also some things are based in truth. And his psychosis is bouncing off of that.
Yeah.
So, for example, at the end, Sephiroth, this could be partially Sephiroth's doing. It also could be partially Cloud's own doing, because we do know that with Cloud, when he doesn't want to see something, when he doesn't want to experience something, we get the glitches.
Yeah.
And seeing that happen while Aerith is being stabbed. Seeing that happen while Aerith is being stabbed, to me, immediately came across like a Jenova tweak out, but also seeing Sephiroth's eyes, I wonder if it's something that Sephiroth himself might have induced.
Yeah.
Because he does say the line, I don't know if you recall the line, he said, with eyes this clouded, you'll never see the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is right after Aerith gets murdered. And it's also glitching back and forth between what we see in OG, which is him crying and saying his original lines, but those lines are muted.
Yeah.
I'll also tell you...
That's so cool. I forgot about that line. But yeah, that perfectly wraps into that Yogacara thing. Like I said, Bugenhagen said, you need the eyes to see, the ears to hear. Najima said, this is what he's been watching. And if those senses deceive you, you can't find the truth, your true self. So with eyes disclouded, you'll never see the truth. Oh, yeah, carry on.
So I do think that the Aerith that we see, it's a combination of things. So it could be, everything that people are saying could all be true at once. That's kind of the most out there theory that I've seen. Everything is all true. There's parts of it where it is Jenova. There's parts of it where it's Sephiroth. There's parts of it where it's Cloud projecting. And it's also Aerith in the live stream. Because if we think back to Maiden who travels the planet as well as OG, what happens after Aerith dies? She does still pray to Holy. She does still do all of these things that we're seeing, really. It's just, so we know Red, he can sense Aerith. So she really is kind of
kind of there, yeah.
Is she necessarily speaking to Cloud? Probably not.
Maybe, well...
He's sensing her.
I like
At the very least, he's sensing her. And if he can somewhat see her, I do think that Aerith, if she could see Cloud, she would probably be doing more to assist him along the way on his journey of finding himself. She would have said something more.
If she can.
Yes, if she was speaking to him, I do think that like if it was actually Aerith and not just Cloud's projection of Aerith, because a lot of people are saying it's Jenova. I do see where you're coming across with that, but I don't think that Red would have sensed Aerith, and I don't think that she would have been there at the end saying goodbye. So it does come across to me. She truly is there. However, she's not there the way that Cloud is seeing her. She's just kind of floating. Her presence is there. It's being felt, and he is projecting something onto that. He obviously has a heightened ability to sense her after coming into contact with her, Omni Aerith, in the live stream.
Yeah.
So I do think that Cloud is having a difficult time with his Jenova cells. It's kind of, I don't really want to see what's happening. So this is what it is. We're just having a normal conversation, which, let's be honest, Aerith would not do that. What purpose would she have for doing that, to continue to elude him in this way that might benefit Sephiroth?
You mean stay in a way that he can see? She can see it because.
No, speak to him in a way that doesn't show him the reality. She has the ability to give him knowledge that could help him a lot, because Aerith has said she wants him to find himself. Yeah. Him being in this state and kind of being in denial whenever, like, why not explain, okay, why is everybody acting like this? Why is everybody
Well, see, I always hold on, you can't put too much weight on why doesn't Aerith explain this or explain that? Because obviously what we've seen in Remake Rebirth, there's so much she could say, and she doesn't, because there's a purpose, there's a progression. She doesn't want to influence Cloud too overtly.
But she is.
But yeah, I mean, that's...
By being there, she would be.
And that's the thing, but she is taking herself away. She is leaving. I do like the way you frame... because it just triggered my mind. Oh, it's all of it all at once. Because
could be.
I think all of these concepts that they merge for so many reasons. Obviously, the Jenova cells in Cloud and Jenova and Sephiroth's control over the live stream means that there's a two-way conduit going on. So, and that's the thing. The whole two-way conduit is really strengthened now, because that's why actually G cells in Crisis Core could do that chimeraing thing, where you know, it could take the cells of another as well as put it in there, and then you'd have like a chimera creature. That wasn't obviously the case for SLs, but now it is. So there's a two-way conduit thing. So, you know, I spoke about this, that if Cloud can take on Sephiroth, then Sephiroth can take Cloud's power. Sephiroth can see inside of Cloud's mind, but also it could get to a point where Cloud can see into Sephiroth's.
Yes.
Sephiroth's real goals, real motives, but also deeply into the inner workings and circles of the power that he and Jenova hold over the live stream. That's why Cloud Dreamweaver, that he could actually start constructing reality. But yeah, if now they're sort of penetrating into these, like, because I still don't know whether or not Remake is just, this was a branching deviation and deviations have always been a thing, or it was with Terra Corrupt that Sephiroth created this branch. Well, it feels like that was a purgatory that Zack was in. Like, the rift in the sky implies it's still embedded within the live stream, and it's fractured, it's broken. Like, it's not the real world. You can't say, you know, that's just another butterfly effect world, because there's obviously something broken in it. And what I really like the idea of when you said it could be all of it is what we saw, I guess, was Omni Aerith inserting Zack and Biggs into that world. So if that world is indeed Sephiroth's illusion, then basically Aerith has planted herself and her agents. She has planted illusions within his illusions. Like, she's playing Sephiroth at his game. And I think that's why in that final fight, Sephiroth's like, I underestimated you. There was a moment where Aerith shocked Sephiroth. And I think it's because, yeah, she's playing the game on a level that he did not anticipate her capable of playing. So if she's been planting within his illusion, on top of all of that power, whatever this current state that Cloud is in, Sephiroth and Jenova have flipped to try to take over his mind, make him a puppet, merging the worlds. Sephiroth knew what new state of power he'd be like putting Cloud into, where he could probably see both of these worlds. And Aerith she's embedded within that. So there's all of those things. It's Jenova induced, it's Jenova cells induced, it's Cloud, master of my own illusory world, you know, wanting to see what he can see out of Copium, as well as, legit Aerith existing within the illusion.
At least her presence being there, because that's where she is when she dies. Her presence would still be there. Her spirit would still be there. And I do think a huge part of it is Cloud sensing her. I do think that Holy, the empty Holy, does have a huge part to play in it.
Oh yeah, for sure, the empty Holy.
Because why else does he have this new ability to sense and see things that he couldn't sense and see before?
Yeah.
So I do think that that is a huge part of it. And I think that he's able to sense more keenly, and rather than just it coming across as his senses, because he has those Jenova cells, he's almost imprinting something, showing something that isn't actually there, but the same sentiment, the same vibe is there, which is why I do think that it's all true, because whenever Aerith first shows up, we're right outside of the lake where she's supposedly buried, which I do think actually does happen, but Cloud has also yeeted that from his memory, which is why we don't see it, because Cloud does not experience it at all. Yet I do think we will see that. I do think we will get the chance to mourn Aerith, which is why I've come to more of an acceptance with this. Initially, I was pissed. I was like,
wait, so you came out of this ending pissed?
I was annoyed because I was fully. Why I say it all seemed to be very obvious to me. I was pissed because I was so sure that, okay, so now we're using Aerith's death as a plot device to further Cloud's madness.
So you went down the madness approach. Are you not so much worried or fixated or scared about Cloud multiverse of madness? Infinite branching timelines.
I don't think they're going to go that far with it. I do think
that's how they've presented, and that's the thing. I'm hoping that
Sephiroth saying that.
Yeah, I hope that is a misdirect.
And I do think, regardless of if they show more of that, what have we seen with each timeline that has sprung up? It's destined to die.
Yeah.
It's popped up, and it resolves itself fairly quickly.
Yeah.
People in that pocket know. I do think it pops up for a purpose, and then it's done.
Well, that's the thing.
It pops up for a purpose, and then it's done. So I'm not so worried about it, but I do think, my initial anger came from, I do feel okay with certain things changing. What I'm not okay with is all of this lack of emotion.
Yeah.
I've come to a place.
I guess you also did not cry.
I didn't cry.
At his death. And neither did I. And that's the thing.
A lot of people did.
I don't think a lot of people. I don't think you could. I don't think you could.
Because of how they did it.
And
that pissed me off.
And I can tell that for anyone who wanted a faithful, I want to relive the experience, I want to relive the emotion, this is, for every intents and purpose, a full derail. So it is totally fair that some people wanted a like for like. You know, I feel like sometimes... It's also
fair that some people, after the ending, their score went down.
I feel like we sometimes overly mock or berate. And to be fair, some of them do invite on themselves in the way that they sort of clap back a bit too aggressively. But it's perfectly reasonable that some people wanted a like for like, a faithful, grounded remake. And...
Or at least to stay as close to the original as possible.
And the way they did Aerith's death is absolutely a derailment. I didn't cry. And
I don't know anyone who did personally.
That's a pretty big deal.
I'm sure some people did. I'm sure some people felt the emotional weight. But for me, it felt like Aerith's death wasn't for her. It felt like she was being used.
It was for a grander plot. Yeah.
Yes, she was being used. It felt like it wasn't actually a celebration of her. It felt really off to me. and I did not like that. As somebody who grew to like Aerith's character in Remake and Rebirth and OG, I did not like Aerith at all. Oops. However, even for me, somebody who did not like Aerith was still impacted by her death, because it's, how could you not? It's still
It's
sad,
like,
the way that they set it up.
it's a video game legacy, isn't it?
Yes, what really solidifies it, even though, yes, afterwards we go snowboarding, but for that moment, whenever we're fighting Jenova, the way the music sounds, it's just harrowing. It's upsetting. And then lowering her down into the water.
Didn't have the body lowering.
We didn't have that. One of the things that made me more okay with this is, I don't know, I think it was an interview with Cloud's VA. He recorded the lines for Aerith's death.
Right.
Those lines are recorded.
Yeah.
It exists.
Okay.
Something leads me to believe that even if we can't fully mourn Aerith right now because she's kind of being used as a plot device, I do think we're going to, once Cloud realizes that she's actually dead, I do think we're going to get that moment. I think we're going to see her
Based
be
on
lowered.
what were these recordings?
So the lines that he says in OG, you know how we didn't actually hear them because Cloud's blipping in and out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to actually see it for how it was. We're going to hear those lines because he recorded those lines.
Yeah,
Why would he record them if we're not going to hear them?
Well, I would say the reason why they did it is I think that Square Enix probably animated both outcomes, voiced both outcomes, watched it, and then were like, let's do them both. Let's do them both.
And didn't use, and just chose to not use the lines?
I think that they've probably been mulling over how to do her death, and I reckon they wanted to create they probably have either put this decision in last minute.
So you think we're not going to get any flashback?
Both.
We're not going to get any kind of resolution on her death?
I don't even know if she is dead, because again, what is death? But a homecoming!
I think it's pretty clear that she's dead.
I mean, yeah, if she's in the live stream, sure. But, you know, and Cloud seeing this rift and this Aerith, you know, he's basically... Cloud's now clairvoyant enough to see into the live stream. And
he can see the rift.
What would be very cool with that is, if he can see into the live stream, if indeed Remake was a pocket dimension first opened by Sephiroth, and then Aerith inserted and messed with his purgatory, that Cloud has gained some sort of control over that, because with the white materia, I don't know.
He's not aware of it.
With the white materia or the black materia, these are two powerful things that Cloud can do shit with. I know the white materia is not active, but the white materia does allow you to basically decide
it could also be
who you want to keep around. That's what it does in OG. The planet with white materia can decide who it keeps around. Cloud with that white materia, even though it's not activated, could essentially be him having that like narrative control. I feel like if that switches on, Cloud is going to have that Shinji, Ava, human instrumentality, get to decide whether you respect lives separate and maybe try to create an afterlife for those souls so they can go through like their individual soul life progressions, or you try to do what Sephiroth is teeing up, his big plan of, nah, fuck all of it, let's just merge it all back into one big, uncomplicated, harmonious whole that goes on for infinity. If Cloud gets the white materia activated, he can make that choice, and then yeah, with the black materia he's basically got a soul cannon that be cool if he uses that to somehow obliterate Sephiroth on a soul level, or at least fucking Jenova on a soul level, but and like he meteor shots the shit out of him with the buster sword.
Possible.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
I do think that Cloud's not going to hold on to the black materia. I do think that just like in OG, he's going to lose it to Sephiroth. However, I do think that Omni Aerith giving Cloud the empty holy. So I haven't seen anybody else say this yet.
Go on.
I'm not saying that I came up with this, because obviously...
Go on, take credit for it.
Well, no.
They don't know.
No, because I do think that it's very possible for several people to come to the same conclusion very easily. But I think that Aerith gave Cloud the empty holy, because how did holy become empty? Aerith lost her memories.
Yeah.
Cloud has also lost his memories. Cloud actively loses memories as they happen due to the fact that he has these Jenova cells blipping shit out of his mind. He actively, as soon as Aerith died, he actively lost that memory.
Yeah.
He actively lost the memory of lowering her into the water.
It's also why the temple didn't give him a... Well, he did get a trial. No, that was a Sephiroth getting a trial.
That was a Sephiroth trial.
But the temple didn't give him a trial.
The temple didn't give him one because he's not
really there.
He's not really a person right now. Could it be possible that when Tifa and Cloud fall into the live stream and Cloud regains his memories, that Holy will be activated on Cloud's end as well?
Wow.
Is it possible that we have two Holies going at once to combat Sephiroth? Is this the reason why Aerith gives that to him? That's what I think. I haven't seen anybody else say that. I don't know if that's...
Cool. I like that.
That's
don't know.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean,
it's just what I think.
It would add some significance to a memory dive, because that immediately made me think, all right, well, what's the point of it now?
I think that's the point.
That could be a pretty big point. It's a juicy point.
I mean,
like
regardless, it's important for Cloud to return
Quick
to
question.
himself.
Why were some of those live stream vortexes different? Why were some of those rainbowy? Some of them were like green and live streamy. Other ones were similar to like the education one. Do you think that's just because we're either going between dimensions? We're going between like the cosmic live stream? Like you got the vortex where it's like clearly green and it's like, okay, that's a live stream vortex. Versus say at the end of Remake where you go and it's like all galaxy-esque. Okay, and then Cloud's at the edge of creation. So he's going through the cosmos live stream there. Not,
I think that's
not
when you're
the planet
actually
live stream.
moving.
Yeah, so what's the rainbow
moving.
live stream?
The rainbow, you're not actually moving. You're not actually going into a different dimension. I think that's trying to defy fate just for it to whiplash back to you.
Right. Yeah.
So whenever
I was wondering that.
Yeah,
because
whenever Zack goes to try to save Cloud, what happens? Rainbows, whiplash back.
Yeah.
Nothing actually happens. He doesn't actually save Cloud. Going to save Biggs, the rainbow happens, whiplash happens. He doesn't actually save Biggs. Cloud tries to save, or thinks he's trying to save Aerith. It doesn't actually save her. Aerith still dies.
Yeah.
Rainbows. So I think that is what that means.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Man, Biggs, just that was so brutal and final. You know what?
And I didn't feel anything.
With the finality point, I do kind of like them doing it with Wedge. The way just, window, unceremonious as all fuck.
Yeah.
Now with Biggs, I know I'm an NPC, I want to change things. No, you can't.
I don't like that this game's making me not care about death.
Yeah, I mean, people said that about 10, they trivialized death. So I think this is kind of something that 10 and 7 share, that go kind of hand in hand. And like I said, I think the only thing that can counter that is the authenticity of the raw emotion. Needs to carry, to permeate through that, kind of trivialization. Because, I mean, that fate point is really good, because I was wondering, if you have all of these butterfly effects, and you even had Sephiroth in the date say, you're going to go there because you have to. Said it to Aerith, you have to. How does a infinitely branching multiverse, if that's what it is, how does that work if fate is such a hard limiter? And that makes it imply, that makes you feel that it's not that.
It's not. When he's talking to Aerith, the truth comes out. When Aerith is talking about changing things, she's also like, some things can't, it's obvious that she thinks some things can't be changed. But when Sephiroth is talking to the crew, when Sephiroth is talking to Cloud, he's pushing them to try to defy things. Why? Because it suits him, not because it can actually change anything. Whenever he's like, defy your fate, come with me, come through this portal. It didn't do anything for them, it did everything for him.
Yeah.
They thought they were helping themselves, but they were just helping him open up his own little live stream. But obviously Aerith is smart enough to know that that's what he was doing, and planted Biggs and Zack, I think, to also help her have her outcome of getting the holy, the full holy to Cloud, and therefore getting the active holy to this real-time Aerith, and then giving Cloud this empty holy for, she's playing 3D chess, she's going far into the future with her ideas, but that doesn't change the fact that them trying to defy fate only benefits Sephiroth because they can't defy their own fate. We see that time and
Yeah,
time
they don't.
again.
They really
of
don't.
People who are getting saved get yeeted in the most meaningless way.
Yeah.
Not Aerith necessarily, but she is getting yeeted in the same way. What does it benefit for Cloud to think that Aerith lived? Sephiroth. It benefits Sephiroth for him to think that. So, stop. Shut up.
Yeah, I like that. We'll wrap this up because there's loads of little videos. This has already been way longer than I hoped, but this is really juicy actually, because if you talk about like meaningless and death becoming trivialized and less impactful and how that could actually sinisterly affect Cloud into thinking about it that way, kind of feels like Sephiroth has come in and he's ripping the story into a direction that makes the sanctity of original, like it's defiling the sanctity of it. The simplicity of it, the raw emotion of it, the honor of the death that person had and the experience that they had, that's just being obliterated in all of this. And is that not what Aerith said at the Destiny's Crossroads? All of these memories, all of these like life experiences, they mean nothing to him, like rain rolling off his back. Now, even what was the line where he said about merging all of these things so it's all harmonious forever, and then Aerith came along and said there's no such thing as forever, you know? So he's trying to rip it into this fate-changing, infinite, crazy, grandiose, a much different story than it was in the original. And Aerith there trying to pull it back. Yeah. And in a weird way, that's actually very cool and very poetic.
Yeah.
But like I said at the start of the stream, it all depends on the goddamn execution at this point.
Yeah,
like,
that's I think
part 3 just has an
most people,
even bigger target on its back now.
That's where I think most people have landed. Like my upsets with the ending, my upsets with the game, it all comes down to how are you going to handle that in the next part. It has a lot of weight on his shoulders, but I do think they've set it up to where it can be a home run.
I really think it can. I really think
it's possible. It is possible that you can keep everyone satisfied to some degree. Yeah. Obviously, you're always going to upset people, but I do think that having enough branch outs to where we're able to see Aerith have peace in the live stream, have peace with what her choices were, with what she had to do, with her noble sacrifice.
Yeah.
And getting also to put Zack in there, because what is one thing that us fans feel comfort in, knowing that Aerith died and knowing that Zack died, is knowing that they have each other, right? And getting to see that finally, I do think that they saved that.
That's the only thing that didn't happen.
They saved that for part 3 for a reason, because Aerith, after everything she's been through, and Zack, after
she must essentially be in the same place that Zack is, the rift in the sky.
Which is why I do think we're going to see that next time, and I do think that that's going to give us... And I do think, so for just my own personal take, so I do think the reason why they did that little Zack asking Marlene, oh, does Aerith like Cloud? I think it's one of those Japanese anime things where it's push-pull sort of thing, where it leaves you guessing, Cloud being like, are you still in love with Zack? And she's like, maybe. I don't know. Play part 3 to find out.
It's the love triangle.
Play part 3 to find out. I think that it's one of those things, and I do think we are going to get some kind of comfort there that they both, at the end of the day, even though they went through all this crap, they both at least are at peace. I hope that we end up seeing that.
I hope we end up with some sort of, return to status quo finale. I've always said that. You can bring bigs. I think likely Jesse coming in part 3s, I feel likely. You could do all of this as long as the ending kind of wraps up into finale. My final points are thoughts. I mean, Zack, Cloud back to back in fighting Sephiroth. I mean, that's the thing.
That was great.
These are moments that I live for. Does shit like that, moments like that, justify this story? Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Like,
I think so.
For as much as I can like criticize and be worried and be worried, it's like at the end of the day, when I'm seeing stuff and I'm pooping in my pants.
Yeah, I was alive for that.
Yeah, and I'm feeling levels of ecstatic enthusiasm, excitement, thrill that yeah, let's just be real. We would not be getting if it was a like for like. Maybe some of you would, but I even know where certain beats of the story are going very like for like. There's a little bit of me tuning out. I still appreciate it, but a little bit of me tuning out when it's like very like for like. I feel like for me personally, I don't know if you guys, if this whole thing was like for like and you literally knew what the next beat was, I feel like I would have actually tuned out a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe my attention span is just really fucking short.
Hey, that's fine.
But hey, I'm really enjoying the experience that this is going. And yeah, all I'd say is, there's so many beautiful, cool themes in here and ways to look at this. And yet, there's also so much that you can just get lost in a whirlwind of shit. And I feel like, everything that they've just done with keeping Aerith alive, everything that they've just done with the love triangle, like you said, the Marlene, well, does she like him? The will they, the won't they, the little hints here and there, everything that they did in OG. Kate Sith, reading, Aerith and Cloud's stars and finding them aligned and shit. It's like, you can get yourself lost now arguing about shipping nonsense. You can get yourself lost infinitely now for another 3 years about whether she's dead, whether she's not dead. And I know that's how a lot of people are going to argue about this. People are also going to argue about whether or not all of these stamps and all of these timelines mean it's going to be this. And I just feel like you're all looking in the wrong direction. You're like, it's so limiting.
You can't look at it through that lens.
It's just so frustrating.
It's like
there's such like a big fertile area of like juice to look in, and everyone else's attention and focus and hyperfixation is on bullshit.
Well, let's be honest. If you're a little bit butthurt to where you feel like you need to twist things and put things under a lens in order to make sense for you.
Change the meaning of translations. Lie about translations.
It's a bit sad. Just accept the fact that it's like, okay, you can write a fan fiction if you want. What you wanted to be in the game, the devs didn't write into the game. And that's okay. It's really okay, because guess what? There's going to be something for you in part 3. You're going to like something about it. It's not like Aerith's gone forever, we're never going to see her again. Of course not. She's this live stream goddess. She shows up in Advent Children. She's going to be showing up. We're going to see things with her. So just don't be so
all I will say is that we're totally also hypocrites, because that's the hilarious thing. A huge portion of this, we're also talking about it. We're also fixating on it. Whether she's dead, whether she's not dead.
Yeah, but not through a lens of something that doesn't matter.
Exactly, but not through a lens that doesn't matter. I keep looking at these through a lens of how does it supplement the rest?
The grand scheme of
the
things.
Bigger picture, the bigger potential of the story.
What has
going
impact?
Into part 3. And all I'll say is that's why I'm happy with this ending. Because actually, if you look at the framework of everything, it has the potential
to be amazing.
But
also shit. It could be shit.
It could be shit. It could be total dog shit.
That's always going to be a possibility.
I may be an absolute copium thinking that this ludicrous multiverse bullshit nonsense, this pathetically written plot device, has any substantial direction or any goddamn hope of being decent. I could be totally fucking fooling myself.
But that's the thing also.
That's Square Enix.
Everyone could be wrong. We could all be wrong at the end of the day.
It could all be wrong, and it could just be
it was all a dream.
I mean, regardless of all of these plot devices, we just need to finish off and just say, what a beautifully crafted world.
Yeah.
What a
beautiful game. Had a great time.
What a beautifully in-depth combat system. What a phenomenally written score.
Amazing
music.
characters.
Great characters. Plethora of mini-games and exploration. More RPG elements than we have had in 2 decades of this series.
Very faithful to the source for the most part.
For the most part. And
great time.
Right then and there, we might have one of potentially Game of the Year contenders. Probably not.
We won't get it. We never get it.
Because we haven't got enough sales numbers.
That's true.
But I need a pee, and I'm going to leave that there.
Yeah.
That I'm really goddamn happy with Rebirth.
I am too.
And I want to know what you guys think
I
about
think
all
most
of this.
people are. Most people
in
are.
the comment section below.
Regardless of what you think, you're probably happy.
Finally, I can enter spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of holding the blinkers off because I wanted to give my own interpretation. But I'm really glad that you said that I wasn't like totally leagues off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trust me,
I was
those
worried.
people exist, but you're not one of them.
She kept saying, "Oh, everyone have these like dumbass takes, I'm just like,
is that me? I'm like, no.
it's me. I don't know.
Just small brain people. But most people are on kind of the
We
same
sound
track.
like elitist FF7 pricks.
No, I think most people have that kind of view of like, oh, Aerith is dead, but she's alive in the live stream. Omni Aerith, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's most people's
Yeah,
take.
and it's lit. And I will just say, yeah. I
Some
think,
people are pure Jenova line. There's a lot of Jenova Aliyahs that's Aerith's not doing nothing there. That's just Jenova that we're seeing. But of course, there's a million takes. There's a million takes within those takes as well. So it's just a matter of whatever you think, and that's okay.
Yeah, let me know, guys.
Cool beans.
I need a pee. Comment, like, and subscribe. Until the next video. Super. God, I'm so desperate for a pee.
Okay.
So many more points I wanted to make, but I
No,
suppose
so many.
it will cut the video short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not short, though.
It's really not.
Press the button.